So I wish I could tell you how many times I had to restart this video over and over and just trying to make sure like everything is just right when I can just jump straight into it. So with that being said, let's just jump into it. So for the longest now, like 2025 has been like an emotional roller coaster year. Some points of the year we've been on a mountain and we've been celebrating, and some years we've been in the valley and we've been depressed, if we're gonna be completely honest. And it's just like there's like no in between. It's like you're either on 100 or you at on zero. And so with that being said, it's just like it's been a challenging year. I'm 33 and I'm still figuring out, I'm still learning my walk in faith, and I'm still just waking up every day trying. Some days, a lot of days, I have wanted to quit and try to quit and just can't quit. Some days I've been on fire, been on top, been like, oh, like can't nothing come against me. I have been obedient and I have been disobedient. And so now, with that being said, it's like in the fall season, I just like I usually just shut down. Like in the fall and winter season, I don't know what it is, but it's just like some people say it's like a seasonal depression. I honestly don't know and haven't asked, to be honest. And with that being said, I might just ask after this video. And so usually when like October hit, I usually just shut down and just go crawl underneath my rock or just, withdraw and retreat in my shell because it's just very depressing around this time of the year, whether it's good for me or it's bad. And so I'll just start by saying like October, I made a video where I was talking about promoting breast cancer, really standing on it. Like, it was like me transitioning from the into the breezy bowl where I was just on fire selling jerseys like in state, out of state, all over the country. And I was like, all right, I got to transition because I can't not only one just live off somebody's name, but it also the tour has to come to an end. So I have to learn how to pivot. And so for like over a year now, I've been trying to find somebody to personally teach me or take up a class where a small group of us to learn how to sew. And that's been a challenge. And so I finally found somebody to learn how to sew. And then they was in a car accident. So, they wasn't feeling their best. And then with that being said, I was just like, I'm not going to buy them because I don't always want to feel like a burden to nobody or feel like I'm pressing them for something. I'm just not the inconsiderate type. I'm very mindful of others. And so fast forward, from September to October, October comes and I'm like, okay, finally dropped my video where I was like, every day, month of October, we're gonna just do some breast cancer wise. We're gonna wear pink like every week or whatever. I'm like, I didn't specifically made me a fire, pink jersey, with my name on it, very personalized. And just to show people like, I'm not only in support of breast cancer just because I'm wearing pink, but I know people who have had it, lost their life to it, and also beat it. And so I say like that was like I want to say a few days before October. I dropped a video. I want to say the first week in October, I lost like one of my closest friends from college, and it just crushed me, and it just like really hurt me. So with that being said, I was just like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm kind of straight on the whole breast cancer campaign because it really hurt me. Like I already had lost my auntie to it, but just to lose like a close friend. And I got another close friend who beat it as well. So I was celebrating off that, but it was like a hard blow because I haven't seen her all year. I barely talked to her all year. So I was just feeling my worst for real. I was feeling real sad. And so then I was really just struggling with trying to transition, figure out like where I want to go, where I want to take my business, and not only my business, but where I want to see myself by the end of the year. And the one thing I was really leaning on is God was telling me if I could just make it to the end of the year, He had something great for me. Of course, He don't tell me what it is. You just got to get to it. And so now my day to day basis consists of me waking up, talking with God, delivering for Amazon, and if I got to order for some clothes, I'm doing that. And so, I'm really just barely dragging my feet through October because it's like real slow for me. The economy is hard and it's not, favorable for a lot of people. And usually, if you're not really doing embroidery or doing something like, I guess, proposed to the season, like if I'm not making anything for the theme, like it's Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's going to really, really be slow for you, especially with printing, like embroidery is like a way to like keep ahead and keep coasting through it. And so I finally get to a point where it's like, all right, it's slow. I got to figure out something. It ain't like I haven't been filling out for regular 9 to 5s either, but it's like I've been real picky about certain 9 to 5s. Like, yeah, I'm not in a position to be picky, but I'm also like not about to take no 9 to 5 where it's just like, all right, I'm barely making any money to do this. And it's like taking up a lot of my time where I'd rather just lean on faith and just like, you know what, still promote my brand and just do Amazon Flex on the side. And so it gets to a point where I'm in a rough patch in my life and it's just going like downward or whatever. And I'm just like, at this mindset, I'm just like, all right, it is what it is. I go through this every year around the same time of the year. I'm basically almost basically immune to it. So I'm just like, whatever. And so I get to a rough patch where it's like really rough. I'm behind. I'm like, sales is slow. And to be quite frankly honest, I ain't told nobody, but I almost just lost my passion for just making clothes because of just like how to maneuver through grief. And I was even taking therapy too and trying to talk about it or whatever. And I really just kind of lost the passion. I think like the last 3 orders I made, which was like jerseys, I messed up on them. Like it was minor mess up, but some of them was like it wasn't my best. For even like this jersey you see now, you'd be like, well, what's wrong with the jersey you have on now? This is horribly digitized, so that's why it looks terrible. And I just been having problems with the machines as well. Like if I really zoom in and show you like the details, like it's almost off centered right here, and it's a little messed up here and there. And y'all be like, oh, but realistically, it's terrible. Even with like this, like the rose is not even in like the center where my wrist at. Like my placement is off. Like even though the crease is right here for the sleeve, it's like off. So I just really was just like, you know what? I told myself like until I have the passion and the love for it, I'm not gonna do it. I don't believe in doing things where if you're not doing it at your best and have a real love and passion for it, you shouldn't be doing it. And that goes for people, places, or things. And so this is like week number 3. And so what happened was I'm out delivering. It's early morning, and I'm just talking with God, and He was like, I got to strip you. And so I just sat there with this exact facial expression, just driving like, and I was just like, yeah. I'm like, I don't really have nothing else to lose for real. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm with it, because at this point in my life, I'm just like, I just I just came in contact with stuff where it's like I didn't been around people where I shouldn't even been friends with or shouldn't even be around certain people. And I guess you know how spirits linger or whatever. Certain stuff that just own me. And the one thing he always said was, I gotta strip you of these clothes that you got on. Like these ain't even your clothes. You told me, once you took these certain pair of clothes off, you wasn't gonna put them on no more. And here you are wearing them again. And he was just real specific on like, I gotta strip you of them garments. And so I was just like, yeah, I know, because at this point I know I don't even feel like myself. And I'm just like, just nonchalant to it, because at this point in my life, my mental is like, it's just down. And I'm like, I don't really care for real, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm just like, something has to change. And so what's ironic is I hear God very clear. I'm very aware of seasons that I'm in, circumstances, and hearing his voice, and just being in certain moments. Like sometimes I hesitate to just do certain stuff. Like it took me months to do this, let alone the last few weeks when I was supposed to did it when the circumstance happened. And so I was at a point where I was just driving. I was like, yeah, I submit to the stripping. And so he was like, you sure? I'm like, I don't have nothing to lose. Now the last thing I have left to really quote unquote lose is like my car. And my car already need fixed and my transmission was bad. And so I'm just like, all right, it don't get no worse than that. So I'm just like, if I lose a car, I lose the car. I'm just at a point where it's like, I'm just nonchalant. That's like my trauma response to it or whatever. And so I'm just like, whatever. And so I get to like what my 8th delivery. I go to bag in the driveway, come out, my trans slip. So now at this point, I'm just broken down, crying. After I didn't already say yes, like I was like, you know what, yeah, I submit to it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I got time to just or a decision to make. I'm like, yeah, technically you got free will, but at the same time, you're not free if you're bound by your own will. And so I just sat there and I was just crying, not because the car, I'm like, just because of the circumstance of reality I was hitting it. Like, 2 things I really value outside of myself in my life is my son and my assignment in my actual physical church that I go to. I'm saying, like, man, how am I going to pick up my son? Like, how am I going to get to church? Not even caring about anything else outside of that because it's a lesser priority to me. And so I'm just sitting here breaking down, like, man, he really about to strip me. But he also told me, like, it's not even about to be that bad nor that long, which is crazy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, man, I remind you, I have AAA, have towed, get the car towed. I have extremely grateful friends that I'm just really grateful to have in my life that was like, you know what, we're not gonna just sit here, finish your route. So I finished my route, have some money in my pocket, and I'm like, cool. Now prior to that happening, I already had written down a structured plan and goals about doing what I'm set to do. Because not to even try to brag, but this is just me expressing how I feel. I have a lot of gifts and talents. Like creativity is my favorite. Like making clothes is my favorite. It's like I really enjoy doing it. Like when somebody calls me, say, "Oh, I need some clothes, man," I jump up with joy and with passion. It's like I really like once I got into making clothes for myself, like printing and stuff. I was like, cool. I only been doing embroidery since February of this year. And so I got into embroidery and it's like, wow, it just like opened up a new door for creativity where it's like, no matter, I went from printing to be like, oh, I got to design it on Photoshop and change the color of, this rose and the words I want to be. With embroidery, I can literally change it to however I want. And that's just embroidery. That don't count if I want to put in the vinyl or fabric and everything else. Like even with like this is embroidered. This is a patch. This is like the little Chanel fur with the silver glitter heat transfer, and it's just embroidered. Like it's just so many. Like the creativity is unlimited with embroidery. And so the one gift I never used that people have been telling me for the past decade is like I could see you just like speaking and just like motivating people. And some people are like, well, I can see you as like a pastor or whatever. And I used to always just shoot it down because I'm like, from the lifestyle I have, ain't nobody about to accept me as no pastor or no, and let alone as a motivational speaker. I'm like, no, my past is so trifling and so horrible. And I had a friend who gave me my first Bible, which is a King James Study Bible. She was one of the first ones to tell you, like, God can turn your mess and bless it and use it to bless others. She was like, that same past that you sitting there like despising, he could take it and use it so nobody, for an example, go down the same road you went down. And I was just like, yeah, it sound good. So of course, throughout the past like decade, it's people telling me, prophesying to me, and affirming and confirming the same thing that everybody else has been saying. Like, oh, I can see you doing this. I can see you doing that, that, that. But it's just like with anything else in life. It don't matter if somebody tell you you're beautiful or handsome until you believe it yourself. It's not real to you, and it's not the fact that I don't believe it. I didn't believe it. It's just everybody's saying it, so it must be true. And then when I take it back to God and ask, he's like, oh yeah, it's facts. But until you really believe it for yourself, it's just a great idea. That's when I tell like these customers and clients I have when they come to me saying like, "Oh, I need this, this, and that, mate. Like, can you create this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, nice idea." Until we put some money involved behind it, it's just a great idea. And I don't discard nobody's creativity for real. I accept it all and try to put my 1-2 on it. And so I get to a point where I'm talking with God now. It's like week number one. I'm without a car and I'm sitting in the house. And he's just like, he like, well, you know what you got to do. And I'm like, I do, but I don't. Like I'm so far off into my thoughts. I'm like, I have an idea, but what are you really saying that I should do? And he like, get out there and just talk. And I remember a guy at my church was saying, we were talking about just doing different, positions in church. And he was talking about putting me on the switch. He was like, yeah, he said these exact words. Like, I think it's just a time for you from going from listening to actually being heard. It's time for you to speak. And it was being on like on the switch was like basically just calling shots. And I thought I was gonna be on the position. It turned out I didn't be on that position. But when he said it, it just like was ringing in my head, literally from my head to the soles of my feet, like just ringing. And I'm sitting here like, that's crazy or whatever. And so it went from that, and that was like midsummer, maybe early summer when he said that. And I was just like, dang, And that's probably the one gift I really haven't pushed or used in my entirety that I know I can fluently flow in my sleep. It's like, yeah, I can tell myself or tell others, I can give good advice. I can take it and it can mean something to me. I can sit here and tell you something that God wants you to know without even just doing it because it's just genuinely in me. I personally believe it's like the first gift He gave me was just, being able to speak to people and change their minds and hearts and, redirect them to the better path. I was telling somebody this like maybe last week or the week before. I was like, sometimes I feel like, a bus driver. I don't know where you're going in life, but I know I can help you get there because I'm familiar with direction. I may not know where your destination is or where you got to go, but I know the route to take to get to there or get you to this point where I drop you off and then you figure it out on your own. I feel like that a lot, especially like these past 5 years alone. And so I sit there and I was talking to a guy, and he was just like, just talk. And my thing is this is just me being very transparent. I was always against like doing videos like this where you're talking about cliche content and you're motivating people, telling people the cliche scriptures like, oh, God is doing this. I really just like, if I'm being completely honest, I always despised it. Not because I didn't believe some people, because it's just oversaturated. Like, yeah, I had discernment, but I feel like some people just do it because they feel like they just want to push good news. Intentions is cool, but it's got to be based on facts too. And it's just like I didn't want to be one of those people where it's like, oh my God, I scroll and it's another person telling me or just trying to motivate me in a positive way using scripture and not really being rooted. That was me just basically being judgmental. And that's one of my flaws I have, very judgmental. And so I sit here and I'm talking with God and I'm like, yeah. So what I normally do is when I'm at church, I'm either like behind the scenes working. So when I come home and listen to the sermon, I literally take notes and put them in my note folder in my phone, and I just distribute and send it to people. Like, because some people ask me, like, "Oh, how was church?" And I'll be like, "Here it is, right here." I write down like literally notes, and I put even a link to the videos in the church of the sermon, and I just distribute them to a bunch of people I feel like who it's for, who asked for it, and just just out of kindness of being just like spreading the word without wanting anything in return. I'm just like, somebody might need this. Somebody told me something that relates to what I just heard, and it's like, oh, I think they can use this, and stuff like that. And so it ain't that I've been against it. It's just been like I feel like when it comes to like me and my friends, like I can always work through them. Like it's easy. But getting on here, turning the camera on and sitting here talking like this and being like, all right, not being able to see the tangible results and not knowing where it's going, I think that's just like a problem of faith for real. Just to be like, I'm gonna get behind this camera. Let me get in front of this camera and behind a phone and just sit here and give them this message and just be like, whoever it reaches, knowing that like, what, God gonna make it work and it's just gonna be spread. It's like people have been telling me that, even God told me himself that. And I just been sitting in the house for like 3 weeks to really just procrastinating and being nervous about it. Not that I can't do it, but it's like it's me doing it. And when they say it's really me versus me, it's like a you versus you battle. It's like God already told me he been blocked the enemy out. He's just dealing with me. So that's why that's part of the stripping. Like to clear the space and clear what's around me, man. Like, all right, I done removed everything. Now it's just me and you. And I not only realize that's like a problem myself, but I see it in a lot of people. Like a lot of people don't want to face themselves just out of just lack of accountability. And so I finally just mustered up the courage and the confidence just to be like, you know what? I can't lose. I even seen people been posting and making videos like, they say the world's so bad now, the worst you can do is chase your dream. Like, it don't get no better. It don't get no worse than that. And so I not only accept it as a calling and know it's a calling, but it's just like I'm just about to be unapologetically and just authentically be me. Cause that's truthfully who I am for real. I can literally take a diamond and find it in the sand. I can find a needle in a haystack. Whatever negative information you give me, I can pull some positive out of it. It's like secondhand nature for me. It's not an issue. It's not a challenge for me. The challenge is believing that I can do it and not see the results, or somebody come back and tell me it and believe I'm still doing the work. It's almost like you just keep your head down and keep busy and just keep going. And that's just what I'm simply about to do. Like I'm just about to have tunnel vision with it. I'm about to sit here and just do the work that I'm called to do. Like I'm not about to sit here and worry about they say, he say, she say, or criticism and all that, and then just like distractions. I'm about to just really post whenever I just feel led to post and whatever message you want me to give, and just be like that. And before I forget and close out with that, I was talking to my friend Dad, and he would tell me like, "Yeah, your brand's sweet, but as a man, why do I want to wear flowers? Why do I want to wear roses?" As a man, because the stereotypical mindset is, it's for women. And when I tell people, when they actually ask me, like, well, what do roses mean? In the beginning, I was just for me, it was just gonna be like a thing for me and my son, just some clothing brand where I just personally wear for me and my son. We wear flowers, because I don't see nobody doing it. Wouldn't nobody putting like flowers on their shoes or whatnot. So I didn't see that often. It's out there, but I didn't see it in like all the places I was going and been to. I ain't seen people doing it. So I'm like, I'm gonna just wear flowers. And so when I really talk with God to it and submit it to it, and even when my pastor came and said to me, like, hey, you might want to change your thought about it just being for you and your son. because he was so invested into it and interested. And it was my first encounter with him. And I was like, wow, like, man who I don't even know. First time seeing me and actually complimenting my outfit for one, because for me it's uncommon. And then saying like he liked what I had on, he wanted the exact same outfit. And I was just sitting there so stunned about it, like why would he want to wear what I'm wearing? Like this is just simple me putting because I had it on my hat. The hat ain't even over here. I had it on my shirt. I had it on my jeans and my shoes. He was like, I want to wear the whole outfit. So I went home, made him the outfit, brought it to him. He wore it. Like, I want to say it was Bible study. He wore the shirt and the shoes and the hat. And I was just like, I'm like, dang. He wore the church service, went live and recorded and everything. And I was just like, I wasn't there at the time because I was at work. And they sending me pictures like, you got on your stuff. And that's when I went back and took it to God, like, well, what is this exactly? And he was telling me like whatever you want it to mean to you, but it's not just clothes. So once I got deeper into it and started consecrating myself and submitting to it, I realized it's not only just a clothing brand, it's a print company, embroidery company. And for me, it's like a lifestyle. And it's almost like if you were a ministry. And so what I was telling people is, um, roses ain't just for men for women. It's people giving you their flowers. And when I wear it, it's me going around physically walking the flower, the gift that God has given me and giving it back to the whole rest of the world. And that's my way of looking at it as submitting my gift to God. He's like, he gives you a gift. It ain't just for you, it's for the rest of the world. So when I finally figured that out, I'm like, oh, this is easy. You know, this is me basically showing the world that I have a gift and I'm willing to give it away freely. Now, it may not be clothes wise, but it's just like whatever he has for me to say or do, I'll do it because I never have a problem doing it. And so when I was telling people, I was like, each rose petal each rose petal represents a layer of a man. I'm like, the first layer you peel is always the biggest one. That's always you see, which is the outer shell. It's who he is around any and everybody. And then like the second layer, you go further in and further closer, to the bud or whatever. It's like it's who he is, around certain people. And as you peel all these layers back, it's like you get to know a man, but you only get so far with most men because it's like by the time you get to like I say like the third or fourth layer, it's who he is behind closed door when nobody sees, you know, what he's dealing with, what he's battling with. And then at that point, you have to be really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Significant to him for him to really pull back that layer and show you who he is. And by that time, most men are vulnerable, and men don't like to feel vulnerable. And so when I explained that to him, he was just saying, "Well, why don't I know that?" I'm like, "Well, it says it on my business card or whatever." I'm like, "It says some men don't get their flowers until they did. By that time, it's too late." I'm like, "I give you yours now." He was like, "Why you ain't got that on the shirt?" And I promise, I've been doing roses for like since 2023, and I never thought about putting that part on the shirt. I think I got far as putting an acronym where it says restore, obedient, submit, engage, and serve. He was like, "Yeah, that's cool, but why you don't got the message on there?" And I was thinking to myself, like, why don't I got a message? He like, "Do you even got a video talking about what roses mean? Like, it ain't just this. It's a whole acronym you got behind it and a whole real like explanation behind it and what it means to you and other men and people, period." And I was like, I actually don't. And so with all that being said, I was just like, yeah, I have to really consecrate myself again and figure out the real fullness of what it is, not only that what God gave it to me, but what I want it to be for me and what I want it to be to others. And so I was just sitting here and I was just like, man, thinking when he was talking about it, I was like, yeah, I don't have no video really breaking down what Rose is because to face value, it's just a clothing brand. Like, oh, he makes clothes, he designs, he does graphic design, he does embroidery. And it's like now I'm trying to get in the zone where I learn how to make clothes from scratch because I think that's where I really have my heart at and that's where I really think I can flow at. Because it's like, yeah, I like taking like a creativity idea you told me. It was like, oh, can you make me a rose or whatever? And they could look detailed and it's like that. And I sit here and try to formulate the vision that God given me in my mind and get to you and put it down, quote unquote, on paper and then digitally make it and then put it on clothes, bring it to life. I like that. But then to go in deeper to say, you know what? I want a hockey jersey made with like, lace strings in it. And I want it to be this color and that color. And if I can literally sit here and make this from scratch, I think I'd be perfectly fine with that. And so I leave saying like I have a lot to offer. I have a lot to offer, and I've been sitting on a lot. And what I have to offer and what I've been sitting on is who I've been the whole time. And mostly, like who know me for real know how I am, but to really just be like, the one thing I've been struggling with and battling is like, be authentically you. Now, I have been me, but I also been like the, if you will, BC for me, which is before Christ. And so I always just battle with that. Like, yeah, I'm still like the wild, the worldly side of me, but I can still always be like who I'm called to be, but not in its fullest, extent. And so I just want to say like, I think from this day forward, I think it's easier. Like, I think once you break the barrier of something, it becomes easier to do. And it took a lot to do this. And I always think back on it, it's like, why it's so hard to talk in front of a camera when you don't see nobody, when I can simply get on my phone and talk to somebody and being like, well, I think God told me to tell you this. Very simple, very easily do it with no hesitation. But to me, it's like, what's the difference? And I don't know. And I think that's just something I just battle with. Or, a roadblock that I finally just now jump over. Even my stomach just jumping and being nervous now and just talking about it and me rambling on, thinking like, all right, this video about long, we're gonna have to cut it or make a second part. But I just really want to share with y'all that this is like my last attempt. Like I'm really stripped down to the core of who I am, which is cool because at that point now I'm optimistic about it and I'm like, it's just me and God. And now I have nothing left to offer. I haven't been getting orders. I haven't. I'm like stationary at home, so it's like I haven't been asking God to give me more because literally I have everything that I need from my presser, my embroidery machine, my sewing machine, my computer, this phone, that phone. I honestly and haven't really been trying. Even the meta glasses, I haven't even been asking for more. I just been asking what to do with it, and then sitting here the whole time, sitting on it, knowing what I need to do with it, and still asking a rhetorical question. And so now I feel like now that I have done it, it'll be easier for me to do it. So I guess you can expect a lot more videos. They won't be this long for real, but I know what I'm called to do. And I've been sitting on it and I know how to do it. I done written down a plan for it. I even got evidence on my page of God even telling me that I was gonna do this. So I do have a video, but I'm not gonna release it until like a year later or whatnot because I can't you don't want to do that. And so I'm excited, even though my facial expression, it's just me nervous and me finally just in my head as I'm talking, like, you finally did it. And it's like trying to be perfect. And I've been seeing people on here say, like, you don't got to be perfect. Your videos don't gotta be perfect. Just be you because everybody's just always putting up this facade, this veil, this fake shell. And so now I'm just like, you know what? Because I really was going to jump on here with my pajamas. I was really gonna just put a regular T-shirt that probably wasn't my brand and put on my pajamas and be like. But it's like I can't really play with my life like that no more because I just been playing with it so much, being like, oh, I'm gonna just carelessly do this, and this, and that, and it's just like no. And so now I'm really just focused on building community, not just for my brand and other creators, but just building a community, even for men, where it's a safe space for them to just talk and be themselves. I don't know when it's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen, but just look forward to it happening. Like this is only 10% of me. That's what's so crazy. And so with that being said, I'm just gonna hit y'all with my normal outro, what I do in my video. This is Reese's Roses, and this is my gift to you.